NelsonJoypad.com bring you another original. It's fucking great.
Say what you will about Ubisoft and their rampant money grabbing with annualised releases, the Assassin's Creed franchise has produced some amazing games over the years. Ezio is one of the most charismatic characters that I've had the pleasure to control, and the naval combat in Assassin's Creed 3 and Black Flag were total game changers. So it's with lofty ambitions Assassin's Creed Chronicles China delves into the fray. But can this 2.5D side-scrolling action game compare to the free-roaming world and wide range of tactical options from its brother games? Can it stack up against Altair's medieval war with the Templars, or Ezio's flying through the air on Leonardo da Vinci's glider, or even Edward's foolhardy charge against a fleet of man-o'-wars? It's certainly a tall order, and one that Assassin's Creed Chronicles China doesn't hold a candle to. That's a pretty unfair statement. Realistically, Assassin's Creed Chronicles can't compare to an open world game, so considering this just another Creed game won't fly, and instead it should be thought of as more of a spin-off, an addition that deviates drastically from the script that we've come to know and expect in an Assassin's Creed game. As I picked up my controller, I tentatively played through the first mission of Assassin's Creed Chronicles China. I can't say that I was exactly overwhelmed. It is worth noting that outside of the main Assassin's Creed games, that I haven't thrown myself into the books, comics and other backstory that the Assassin's universe has to offer, so dedicated AC fans will probably get a lot more from the story than I did. The assassin that we take control over, Xiao Jun, is on the hunt for vengeance against the people who wrought such devastating carnage on the Chinese assassin order, the Eight Tigers. This is the backstory that we learn from the introductions of each level. The artwork on these is fantastic but simplistic, beautifully drawn still images and a voiceover. But these cutscenes don't help with the immersion of Assassin's Creed Chronicles China. I wasn't sure how Ubisoft would work the 2.5D environment of Assassin's Creed China. It certainly has the looks to win me over, with smooth camera transitions while moving around each level. The gameplay is the important aspect here, and this is where Assassin's Creed Chronicles China starts to lose its footing. Each mission gives you a primary and secondary objective, much like the other games in the franchise. But it lacks the depth that these extra objectives would normally provide. The end of each mission is usually achieved by simply running through the length of the map, and secondary objectives are usually not far off the beaten path. I realise that there are limits to the freedom of a 2.5D game, but finding and lighting 5 candles or rescuing captive concubines doesn't have the spark of heroism that I expected it to have. That's not to say that there are no exciting moments in Chronicles China. In one mission, I had the option of setting fire to a tower, and was then tasked to escape it before the thing burned to the ground. With a tight timer and some hasty climbing moves, it made me think that Assassin's Creed Chronicles China has more to offer than first meets the eye. When it comes down to it, the gameplay is the most important thing for a game like Assassin's Creed Chronicles China. Flying through the air to assassinate a target, frantic chases through crowded city streets, and badass fighting have always been the Creed staple. And this is where Assassin's Creed China breaks away from the series and tries to make the gameplay its own. If truth be told, it doesn't quite work in its favour. Each guard's field of vision is marked on the screen, and it put me in mind of the Metal Gear Solid series. If you're spotted, an alert counter will show on the screen counting down to when it's safe for you to go about your business again. I don't know if this has been a genuine nod to the Grandmaster of stealth games, or if it's coincidence, but I like the similarity all the same. In typical Creed style, I began with very little equipment. As I played missions, I was awarded with weapons like a rope dart, throwing knives, and of course, my sword. It felt like there could have been more diversity in the options available, but Assassin's Creed Chronicles China isn't about the combat, not at all. While brute strength was frowned upon in previous Creed games, it's completely blown out of the water in this. The game just doesn't want you to fight your way through levels. Instead, it insists on sneaking around and distracting enemies, something that grew to be very annoying, especially in the later sections of the game. The frustration of replaying the same section of game time and again until I realised exactly what the developers wanted me to do was a constant thorn in my side, and it really turned me off of the whole experience. When Chronicles China releases the shackles, it can be pretty damn fun. Running through timed levels, slaying every enemy that comes within range, put the power back into Xiao Jun's hands, and I was more than happy to wield it. These moments are few and far between, like an oasis of excitement in the humdrum plains of the predominantly stealth-focused game. Sneaking around on noisy floorboards, avoiding barking dogs and hanging wind chimes was fun to begin with, but I think that Ubisoft have misjudged the balance. All in all, Assassin's Creed Chronicles China is only the first of 3 titles set to launch and expand the AC universe. The gameplay is challenging with a big focus on stealth, something that many gamers might like, but one that I found stifling. The combat lacks the depth or effectiveness of previous games, and removes all tactics other than stealth. There's a wide array of enemies to sneak past or assassinate, but there's not so much deviation from the prescribed path, and I don't think Assassin's Creed Chronicles China does itself any favours. It certainly is a pretty game with unique artwork and good pacing, but it lacks the heart and soul that I've come to expect from a Creed game. I can't help but think this isn't well suited to the console market, and would make a much better mobile release. Assassin's Creed Chronicles China can be taken 2 ways. When compared to other installments in the Assassin's Creed franchise, it's found woefully lacking. Its combat is nerfed beyond all belief, and heaven help you if you try to play the game any other way than Ubisoft intended. Taken on its own merits, it's a decent little 2.5D side-scrolling stealth game that has a unique art style. I wasn't taken with Assassin's Creed Chronicles China, but if you care more about the side-scrolling action than the Assassin's Creed name, then you probably will be.